Good morning, class. Today we're gonna work on how to find distance when you are given 2 points and you join them to get a line segment. So how to find the distance of that, the line segment. So here we have the line segment AB. Then how do we find this? First of all, we can make sure we draw. Just make sure you draw, a line that will come from A, that will go straight, that will be parallel to a vertical line across from A, and a horizontal line across from B. And the point of contact, you put your right angle, and the coordinate of B here, if you can see very here, its X value is 7 and the Y value is 5, and point A, X value is 2, the Y value is 2 as well. And if you decide to call this point, you might well give a name to this point, and maybe if you call this point P, as you can see, PB, you can decide to call it A, PC, PA, you can decide to call it B, and then AB will be the longest distance, which is the hypotenuse C. So how do we find the distance AB? First of all, we know the hypotenuse rule. AB, we want to find AB, the X value. What do we do here? We know that C, which is AB, okay, C squared equals to the sum of the square of the two legs, okay. And we know that B, if you can't B very well, B is 3 in terms of distance. A is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in terms of distance, and we don't know C. So A squared is 3 squared plus 5 squared. 3 squared is 9, 5 squared is 25. And then 25 plus 9 gives us 34, which is 6 squared. What do we do next? Take the square root on both sides. Square root makes the square on C disappear. So square root of 34 is a 5.83. So it means here is 5.83. So we have C equals to 5.83. So the coordinates plane version of the Pythagorean theorem is called the distance formula. So the distance formula, this is how it goes. We set up A squared plus B squared to be equals to C squared. And on the distance formula pattern, we need x1, y1, and the other points are gonna be x2, y2. So in this case, our B guy here, this B has coordinates 7 and 5. So you're gonna take 7. So 7 minus, you take x2, you're gonna be x2 minus x1. That will be 7 minus 2. This is x1. This is, if you decide to take this one, x2, y2, x1, y1. And then the other side, y2 minus y1, that will be 5 minus 2 as well. That will give you the distance C. Okay, the C is D this time around, and it's the square of C. So here it's the square, okay. I might just cancel this and put square, okay. And the formula generally says, so we could generalize like this. So our A guy here a square will be 7 minus 2 square, that is x2 minus x1, and then my b guy here will just be 5 minus 2, that is the difference of the y component, and which will be equal to d square, and d square is the c. So in generality, we're just going to say x2 minus x1 square, and then y2 minus y1 square equals to d square. And then what do we do next? Make sure you take the square root on both sides, and then you take square root on d square as well. So the distance formula says, this distance formula is when you take the square root of the sum of the square of the differences of x component and y component to give you the square root of the square of the distance you're looking for. So this is the formula. D will be equals to, if you have 2 points A with coordinate x1 y1 and another point B with coordinate x2 y2, and you want to find this distance A to B, distance square is just square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. This is called the distance formula. Okay, so we're going to use the distance formula to work on these problems here, and we call it a day. If this guy is your x1 y1 x2 y2, so distance formula says this equals to square root of x2 minus x1, that's 8 minus 6 squared, plus y2 minus y1, that's 3 minus 7 squared. Distance is always positive, so you're never gonna see any negative number. If you got any negative number, so it means you did something wrong in your calculation. So 8 minus 6 is 2, you take the square. 3 minus 7 is minus 4, you take the square. 2 square is 4, 2 times 2, negative 4 square. Negative times negative is positive, 4 times 4 is what? 16. So D gives you square root of 20. So by approximation, when you put square root of 20, it's going to give you 4.47. Or, 20 goes to 4 times 5. 4 times 5, 20. And then you can do square root of 4 is 2, so 2 root 5, or 4.47. On the other side, you do the same thing. This is my x1, y1, x2, y2. So you take D equals to, let me separate, square root of, just put bracket square, minus, and you put the values. X2 minus x1, that's negative 5 minus 6, and then minus 2 minus 1. This is quite something big. So minus 6 is plus 6. So negative 5 plus 6 gives you 1. So you square it. Negative, the other side, minus 1 is plus 1. And then minus 2 plus 1 is minus 1. You square it. So at the end of the day, you're going to have 1 square is 1. The other side to 1 square is 1. So you have square root of 2. And then square root of 2 is what? 1.41. Here, what do we do? Just locate, if you decide to call this guy A and B, locate A, locate B. So we're going to use the Pythagorean rule and the distance rule. So, okay, A is at the point x value negative 2, y value -5, x value -3, y value -5. What about b? B is at x value 3 and y value 4. So you're gonna call, so this guy, if you decide to call this guy x, maybe this guy x1, y1, this x2, y2. So if you're gonna use the Pythagorean theorem, you can just find an horizontal line, a horizontal line that will pass through A, and a vertical line that will pass through B. So the point of contact is, as you can see, this is right. So if you call this guy P, A to P is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 blocks. No, 6 blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So A to P is 6. And the P to B is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9, okay. By Pythagorean rule, since this guy here, this AB here is the longest distance is C, I might decide to call this guy A and call this guy below here B. So C squared equals to A squared plus B squared. My A guy here is 6. My A guy is 9, which is BP. So you're going to take 9 squared plus my B squared. My B guy is 6, so take 6 squared. So what is 9? 9 squared is 9 times 9, 81. 6 times 6, 36. And then when you sum them up, they give 117. And this is C. The next thing to do, take the square root on both sides. So the square root on C makes C disappear. The square disappear rather. And the square root of 117 is approximately 10.82. The distance formula, just my AB, which I'm gonna call D, which you can also call C, gonna be the square of bracket squared plus bracket squared. X2 minus x1, that's my x2 is 3, my x1 is -3, so minus 3. Y2 4 minus y1, which is -5. So if I do that, minus times minus is positive, so 3 plus 3 6 squared plus minus times minus is positive, so 4 plus 5 9. So 6 squared is 36 and 9 squared is 81. So it's gonna give me square root of 36 plus 81 is 114. So it means my AB, which is the same as D, which is the same as C, square root of 114 is approximately 10.82. So we have the same value. Okay, thank you very much.